Hi guys and welcome back to Backstage. I'm Maeve.
And I'm Anastasia. Today we're exploring Stuart's high school musical. Drum roll, please. Cinderella! This story has been told in so many ways, from classic fairy tales to modern movies.
But what does Cinderella really mean today? Is she just a girl who gets lucky, or is there more to her story?
Today we are sitting down with the fairy godmother herself, or at least the talented actor who plays her, to talk about the story, the character, and what Cinderella means in today's world.
So before the clock strikes 12, let's dive in. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo!
Today we're joined with Dana, the fairy godmother.
Hi, thank you guys for having me.
So glad you could be here. We wanted to start off with a little icebreaker, so if you could grant yourself one wish, what would it be, and why?
That's a good question.
I'd probably wish to move to another country and buy a big house.
Same.
Same.
That's really.
Which country though?
Probably somewhere in Europe.
Same.
I really like Switzerland.
Same. Okay.
In some versions of Cinderella, she gets herself to the ball in different ways. Do you think the fairy godmother is essential to the story, or could Cinderella succeed without her?
No. I think I agree.
I
think 100% the fairy godmother is needed in every single version, whether it's Roger and Hammerstein, whether it's Disney, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, or whether it's like Into the Woods. The fairy godmother is needed in every single circumstance, like no matter what, because even though like I think Cinderella could, if she wanted to, technically make it to the ball, she couldn't do it like with the confidence that she has if the fairy godmother was there.
Do you think like Cinderella just got lucky, or do you think like it was like she knew it was going to be Cinderella? Yeah. It was destined to be.
Well, I mean, I have two answers, because the first answer is because she was true-hearted and kind.
Oh yeah,
and,
okay.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
She's most like charitable and just
she
like
lived
kind
like a
of
hard
soul.
life.
Yeah, and that like her life was pretty hard before she met the fairy godmother. But another thing is also she was just at the right place wrong time, and it was just so happens that everybody around her is so like god awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it makes her look like a saint.
I guess
if you think about it.
Yeah, also
because I feel like she doesn't do like
that much
like,
compared
crazy,
to like the other Disney princesses. Like if I said like Mulan, like
100%.
Like,
that's
like
true,
she's more like she's like the damsel in like all the Disney princess, like compared to all of them. Same with like Snow White and stuff, but
yeah, that's what I like about the Roger and Hammerstein version. It's a lot different from the Disney. I cry. She comes in, bibbidi boppidi boo, and we're done.
Wait, so like, what is like Roger Hamilton?
Hammerstein. Roger and Hammerstein.
They made Sound of Music.
Yeah, they're the same.
And
creators.
they made Oklahoma, I think.
Yep, Oklahoma.
They're really good.
Yeah, no.
It's just wait, how is it different?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Roger and Hammerstein adapted Cinderella on Broadway, and they kept the original concept, obviously, where Cinderella has her two evil stepsisters and her mom, evil stepmother, and she goes to a ball. But at the ball, she doesn't drop her shoe.
Oh.
In the Rogers and Hammerstein, she
doesn't drop her shoe. She goes.
The shoe is iconic.
Wait, but that's so iconic.
And but wait, she ends up leaving her shoe the second time because the prince she went twice. She went to a ball and she goes to a banquet. And another thing about Roger and Hammerstein is they added a whole bunch of new characters. So, like, characters you haven't heard before, like Sebastian.
There's, like, two love stories at the same time.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
There's a love story between this character named Jean-Michel.
Yeah.
And he's basically, like, the town, like, activist who was, like, fighting for, like, the freedom and like rights of like the poor people. And he's into Gabrielle, who's one of the stepsisters.
Okay, yeah.
And they're like madly in love with each other, but obviously they can't be together because he's like poor and she's not.
Okay.
Along with Cinderella and the Prince's love story. And then there's also kind of like a hidden underlying love story between Sebastian, who is like the like Jafar to the prince. He's like the Jafar to the prince.
Oh.
who is in love with Madame, who is the evil stepmother.
There's so many more themes in this one.
I know.
I've never watched it.
No,
And I barely know any of the
There
songs.
are like so many differences. Like I couldn't even tell. I couldn't even tell.
Well, that's why I like Cinderella, because there's so many adaptations of it. Like, there's so many movies. Like,
that's true.
Like
yeah.
Anna Kendrick. Wait, like there's so many. A Cinderella Story. Is that Hilary Duff? There's so many. That's why I like it so much. I'm really excited to see it tomorrow. Yeah, that's embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
Okay.
I'm so excited to see it tomorrow too.
Same. Okay. Fairy tales often focus on happily ever afters. Do you think the fairy godmother cares about Cinderella's happiness beyond the ball, or is she just focused on that one night? Oh wait, but you said it's 2 nights actually.
Yeah, I comment multiple times throughout the whole entire show.
About her happiness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'm kind of like watching over Cinderella throughout the entire show. Like, like when you see the show, you'll see me pop in during times where like you don't, or like I'll be hiding in the shadows. So like a whole bunch of things can be going on stage, and you just see me in the corner, just like peeking out.
Wait, I'm actually curious. What is your wardrobe like? Is it like exactly the same?
Do you have like that hood, like the blue hood?
Do you have like the wand?
Do you have a wand?
I do have a wand.
Yes!
Stuart actually rented dresses. So
really?
They rented a transformation dress for me and for Cinderella.
You have a transformation?
Okay.
Yeah. So like in the beginning of the show, you'll see me all like decrepit and like weird with like a hood, but and then you'll see Cinderella in her getup, like you saw her this morning.
Yeah.
But they basically ordered these like special dresses that when you pull levers and like remove straps and like spin really fast, everything falls off.
Oh, that's so The Hunger
excited.
Games.
And like underneath, and it turns into
like we saw a little preview today. I loved the costumes already, and that was literally 3 of the dresses.
Yeah.
What's like your pre-show routine?
Oh, my pre-show routine. I actually do quite a lot of things like leading up to the show. Also, another thing is I try to like this is gonna sound crazy. I try not to eat too much.
Honestly,
because my dress has a corset top. So like if I like slight like carb load just like a little too much, the dress is like really tight. So I try not to like yesterday at Conde, I made the mistake of having like more slices of pizza than any human ever needs, because I was just so like tired from like jumping around that like I thought like I was hungry but I wasn't, and I ended up not being able to fit into my dress.
Oh, it happens.
But it's fine. But what I do leading up to the show is, first of all, like I do these like weird like vocal warm-ups like driving on my way to school. Like on Apple Podcasts, like sometimes like I'll follow this like guy and he just like does these like weird like vocal warm-ups.
Wait, like
or he's like mama.
Yeah. Yeah, like stuff like that. And I just make sure to drink a lot of water. In between scenes, because also since I'm wearing layers, my costume can get really, really hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I tend to like, I always like backstage have a fan in my face, and I'm fanning my face because it just can get really hot.
I got you. Is this your first show? Because you were stage crew, right?
Yeah. No, this is my first
musical. I mean,
this is my first musical.
Because I know you're in the play.
Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, but I've done other like plays and stuff in the past, but this is my first like heavy musical.
I'm excited for you.
I'm
That's
really
so
excited.
fun. How do you think the fairy godmother like portrays feminism in the show? Do you know what I mean?
As like just the fairy godmother, like as a person, is like the like grand like mother figure of it all.
Yeah.
And there's definitely like expectations to like live up to, but also kind of put your own spin on it, because like I want to feel like whenever I got the role, I wanted to be able to like feel the character and like make her who everybody has seen her to be for like over the course of all these years. And I also like, my goal from the very beginning was to make it as magical as possible. Because like the worst part
that was beautiful, Dana.
No, because the worst part of like acting is like to be in a show, or like no matter what it is, and then like for an audience member to not like feel it, or like to not like for it to not feel real, especially because this is such a fairy tale. You like, I just want it to be magical, and I want little kids to literally scream, and I want them to just be so excited because because obviously you guys know that it's fake, and like other people and like adults, grandparents will know it's fake, but I just I want to meet their expectations.
I heard there's like some secret magic happening. That's what someone said.
Yeah. Well, that's like involved with our dresses.
Oh, okay.
So
No, oh wait,
we kind of spoiled,
kinda
but
spoiled.
yeah,
I'm
but there
still
are more
so
than
excited.
one transformations. There's a total of 3.
Who's the third? Don't spoil. Don't spoil.
I won't.
I'm excited to see it. Okay. Like adding on to your thing about like how she really cares about Cinderella, but do you think she's more than just like her beauty and like her kindness or like her magic, I guess? Like what is she beyond that?
That's a really good question.
Thanks, Dave.
If I'm being honest, like, I don't even, like, really know. Because, like, even some people ask me, like, where does the fairy godmother go? Like, after she's done with her magic, like,
That's
where
true.
does she go? Because, like, in Roger and Hammerstein, she's, like, the old, like, crazy lady. Like, they call her, like, Crazy Marie. And she lives in the forest. Kind of like a babushka. Like, she lives in the forest. And she's just, like... so I think she's just like more of like a watcher overall, and then once she's done doing her little like fairy like stuff, she like goes back into her cave and just lives in the forest. And like I don't know if she talks to animals. I don't know what she does, but she just comes and goes. She does what she wants.
That's true. Is she just
That's a good
Cinderella's,
answer.
or is she like a guardian angel for everybody?
I like to say she's a guardian angel for everybody.
Same. I agree with that.
I just think it's like Cinderella kind of called her
I
desperate
feel like
times.
they all
desperate
have
Yes.
their different like what they look like though. Like it's the same person.
yeah,
but,
and then
like-
she like transforms. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. That's true.
Oh, and there's no like Gus and stuff. Like,
I'm so
There's no
upset
Gus
about
Gus?
that.
Yeah.
No.
There's like instead of that, there's like a fox and a raccoon that are like Ella's like quote unquote like best friends,
her name is
played by
Ella?
Naomi and Karina.
Oh, is it like Cinderella because she has like ash in her on her
Bro.
face?
Yeah, that's why.
Oh my gosh. Am I an
Because she's
idiot?
always by the fire and Cinderella.
And she was telling us that she loves the Cinderella live action.
That was my
Calling
first
her Ella.
musical when I was little.
Really?
That was my first ever Broadway musical. I went to go see Cinderella.
I
Wait,
think
but like, say if people dress up as Cinderella, do they say their name is like Ella or Cinderella?
Cinderella.
No, they say Ella. They say like Ella or like Cinderella because like her family calls her Cinderella because it's like a
That's
evil
mean.
like nickname.
Yeah. This is our last question, but if you could give Cinderella one last piece of advice after the story ends, what would it be?
I mean, I really give all my advice during the show, but I would like one last like hurrah, I guess I would say is to like don't take everything that she has for granted, because obviously in the end she gets with her prince and they live happily ever after, but like it doesn't, her problems are not going to end there.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Like it's not like we all say goodbye and they live happily forever after
I wish.
and just live in the castle. Like it's not just that. So I think that's what I'd say.
Is that like your message also that you took from the show? Like don't take things for granted, or like what would it be?
Yeah, I guess it is. Like, don't take things for granted. And, you know, I'm glad that I decided to do the musical this year.
We're glad, and we're so excited to see you tomorrow.
Yes.
And thanks so much for joining
Yes,
us.
Dana.
Thank you for
Dana,
having
you
me.
were
This
great.
was fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.